Today's activity is going to be oobleck. Before we get to the activity, I want to ask you guys a couple questions. The first one is, do you guys know what the difference between a liquid and a solid are? Well, if you guys answer with the whole, a liquid takes the shape of a container, any container. For example, water. Water is a liquid and it takes the shape of any container that contains water. Whereas a solid, it keeps its shape no matter where you guys place it. The second question I would like to ask before the activity is if you guys know whether oobleck is a liquid. If you guys answered with it's both a solid and a liquid, you guys are correct. And the reason why is because when you put it in a container, any shape, it'll take the shape of the container. But if you guys tap it fast, it acts like a solid. And today's I have a container with cornstarch, as you guys can see, and we will be adding water to make oobleck. And I didn't measure it, but you guys can add 2 cups of cornstarch and 1 cup of water to make the consistency. I will be mixing it. And just so you guys know, if you guys do try to do this activity, it'll be a bit messy depending on guys. And I'm just going to take my finger and try and mix it together with water. I think we can add a little bit more water to it. And I'm just using a water bottle to add to the cornstarch. And if you guys want to use food coloring to make it colorful, you guys are more than welcome to. And now you just keep mixing it. And if you guys do add too much water like I did, you guys can go ahead and add a little bit more cornstarch to make it a little thicker. Oh, and just so you guys know, make sure you guys have a good area where you guys can make a mess, such as a table. And give me a second, guys. And because I'm not using, I should have used measurements, which I didn't. So what you guys want to do, if it comes out to this consistency, you just go ahead and play around with it and add a little bit more of water. Not too much though. And as we do the mixture, I would like to ask you guys some questions. And the first question that I would like to ask is, when you tap the surface, is it soft or hard? And the answer to that would be, it depends on pressure. So if you guys do it hard, it'll act like a solid, and the reason why it acts like a solid is because of the force of the cornstarch. The particles get together and it becomes thicker, and that's the reason why when you guys tap it hard, it's hard. But if you guys were to do it soft, then your finger will sink, or your hand. And I would also like to ask you a different question. I would like to ask you, where would you find a substance like cornstarch? If you guys see here, it's hard, but if I were to leave my finger there, it's gonna sink and leave an imprint right there. So if you guys don't know, when you guys go to the river or beaches and you go towards the water, the sand closest to the water acts like oobleck, which means that if you were to stand near the water, you guys will sink. But the more further from the water you guys get, it's just sand. Also, you can find that near riverbanks, there's the mushy part, which you guys can, if you guys have gone to a river, you would know that the closer you get to the water, and if you were to stand near the water, the edge of the water, you guys would sink, just like that. So are you guys able to see? And if you were to walk away from the water, it's just pure solid. Or in the case, it could be pebbles or sand. Also, if you guys were to go to the shorelines of a lake, you would notice that there's some consistency like oobleck. And I would like to ask you guys a quick question. Is quicksand similar to oobleck? And if you guys answered yes, then you guys are correct. And the reason why is because quicksand, if you were to stand on quicksand, you guys would sink. And right now I'm just placing my finger on top of the oobleck, and my finger is sinking, as you guys can see, and which is similar to quicksand. But in quicksand and oobleck, if you were to walk or do fast steps and not stand in one place, you wouldn't sink, because you're distributing your weight in different areas. And I would like to ask you guys a question regarding oobleck. If you were to fill a pool with oobleck, and if you were to want to walk across the pool full of oobleck, would you do it in a fast motion, or would you just take your time and slowly walk across the pool with the oobleck? And the answer would be, if you guys said that you guys have to walk fast across the pool, then you guys are right. And the reason again is because the more pressure you guys put, the more weight, you will sink. So you have to keep moving in order to go across the pool full of oobleck. And a little activity that you guys can do if you guys do decide to make oobleck is just play with it and see how it feels. And if you guys have the option to hold it and squeeze it in your hands, how does it feel? Does it feel soft, or will it stay together, or will it become a liquid and basically drip from your hands? And this is a pretty nice activity that you guys can do, and just feel how what you guys can do with oobleck. If you guys, another question for you guys, if you guys were to put something on top of the oobleck, would it sink or would it float? And I have a bottle cap right here from the water. Let's see if it'll sink or float. I don't know if you guys can see it. I hope you guys can see it. It's right here. And it looks like it's slowly sinking. I don't know if you guys are able to see that, but it is slowly sinking. I wonder what would happen if you were to put another object into the oobleck. Again, I have a small container, but you guys can find a toy that is light in weight and just place it on top. And you guys can find a toy, an old toy that you guys don't want anymore, and that's heavy, and see what would happen. What do you guys think would happen if we put the pen cap right there? Will it sink or will it float? Also, I have another question for you guys while we're looking at the bottle cap. If you guys were to go to quicksand and you guys wanted to walk across the quicksand to A to point B, would you guys walk fast or would you guys take your time? If you guys said that you guys would walk fast, then you guys are correct. And the reason why you would want to walk fast on quicksand is because if you stand in one spot on quicksand, you will sink because of your weight. The weight that you put on the sand it's a lot and you will sink. But if you guys wanted to walk on quicksand, and I recommend it, but if you guys would like to do it with adult supervision, then you guys would walk fast. And the reason why is because, like oobleck, you guys would sink. And right now, if you guys can see, I'm pulling the cap up, and from the oobleck, and it was somewhat difficult, and that has to do with the force that you're putting on the bottle cap. So, and if you guys were to go quicksand and you guys stood in one spot, sinking. My finger, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's sinking because I'm just putting my finger there, and also because I'm not moving at all, my finger is just sinking as it sinks because it's acting like quicksand. I have a question for you guys. If you guys were to get stuck in quicksand, how would you get out? Or in this case, if you guys were to oobleck, how would you guys get out? And the answer to that, would you guys be just try and pull yourselves up in a fast motion, or do you guys pull yourself up using small movement? And if you guys said small movements and slow movements, you guys are correct. And the reason why is because if you do small movements, the particles will not be able to allow space between the particles, thus allowing you guys to pull your finger or your body from quicksand. Let's see if I'm gonna try to pull my finger out from the oobleck fast happens. Okay, I'm trying to pull my finger and it seems like it's working, but not fast enough. I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 fingers in. And okay, 2 of my fingers are in, and let's pretend that my fingers are really deep. It's not really deep because the container is not deep enough, but let's pretend it's deep. And now I'm gonna try and pull my fingers out in a fast motion. And it's hard to pull my fingers out because it feels like the oobleck is just stuck to my fingers. It's heavy, it's weighing my fingers down. So in case of quicksand, if you guys were to get stuck in quicksand reason, all you guys have to do, make a movement with one of your legs, or in this case it's my finger. I'm moving it slowly and I'm out. Now for my other one, what you guys want to do is move it slowly. That way it creates less resistance and you guys will be able to get your fingers out, or your body, your legs in quicksand. I have another question. Where can you guys, how do you guys create, if you can create quick besides oobleck? And one of the ways that quicksand is created is that there's water underneath. There's a bunch of water trapped underneath, and for quicksand, it would be sand on top. So whenever you would step on it, or whenever you step on it, you start sinking. But if you guys want to do this activity, you guys can, I suggest you guys finding different objects that you guys wash off later on, and just try and see what objects float on oobleck and what objects sink. I have a pen with me right here, and let's see if this pen will float or will sink. What do you guys think? I think that the pen will float. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can see, but the pen is definitely not floating. It's a big pen and it doesn't fit in the container. So I will show you guys, or try my best to show you guys this way. You guys can see, but the tip of the pen it's sinking. Let's leave it there for a couple more seconds. Let's see what would happen. Okay, I can see, but the end of the pen is definitely sinking. I have a question for you guys. Let's see if you guys know the answer to the question, or just any thoughts. Would be just a thought. What would happen if you guys were to make oobleck and leave it open in an open container like this one? What do you guys think would happen if I just left the container open overnight? And I have to pull the pen out, and it's difficult because it was sinking. If you guys said that so open, if you guys left the container out, you guys are, I mean, it depends on how long you leave it, but a cool thing about oobleck is that you can leave it in an open container, room temperature, and depending on how much you guys make, the water will dry out, and you guys will have cornstarch all over again, which is pretty awesome because you guys can reuse it. So for my next question would be, if you were to have a pool of oobleck and you guys there's two people walking across, do you think that would be one of them's running and the other one is just standing there? Do you guys think that you guys would sink, or they would sink, or they would just float? I wonder what would happen if we also put a cell phone on top of oobleck. What do you guys think? Would it sink, or would the cell phone float? That is a great question. And honestly, I believe that the phone would sink because phones are a bit heavy, on the heavy side. And like I said, if you guys just stood there or put an object, the object would, I don't know if you guys can see, but my finger is sinking. And again, to be able to pull my finger out, you guys, or I would need to move slowly. I'm just moving my finger in circles to loosen up the oobleck that's near my finger, and then I just pull my finger out. So what you guys can do, if you guys do decide to do this activity, is just play around and see what other objects sink and what other objects float. Also, you guys can see if I were to tap the oobleck right now fast, what would happen? Would my finger float, stay on top, or would it sink? Well, let's try it out. How do you guys think? I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's really cool how I'm just tapping it really fast, and it looks like it feels soft, but at the same time, it feels hard. And also, it looks cool because it looks like in a way Play-Doh, where you can just play around. And another question I have for you guys is, what would happen if we added more water to it? Would it still become oobleck, or still stay as oobleck, or would it become something else? That is a great question, and let's test it out. I have, like I said, a water here. Let's add a little bit more water just to see what would happen if we added more water. I added a little bit more water to it, and now I'm going to try and mix it with my finger. It kind of feels smooth, but at the same time, it feels very, very sticky. So again, guys, if you guys are going to do this activity, make sure that you guys do it in an area where you guys can clean up, because as you guys can see, it's fun, but messy. It can be messy. So I added more water, and now it just feels very, very, it feels like my finger sinks to the bottom of the container. Why do you guys think that is? And the reason is because the particles are more apart and not together. So as you guys can see, it's the consistency is watery. Okay, remember the cap? It's right here. What do you think would happen if we added the cap, now that the oobleck is more watery? Well, let's see. Will it sink or will it float? Let's see, guys. I don't know if you guys can see right there. And again, it looks like it's sinking slowly. Let's see the cap of the pen. Will it sink or will it float now that the consistency is more watery? Let's see. I'm gonna put it on this side. And I don't know if you guys can see, but the cap is sinking quicker than before. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's easier to take it out. Again, because of the water. It has more water. Quick question. If we were to have a pool full of oobleck and we added water, more water than cornstarch to it, and we were to stand on top of it, would we float or would we sink? Let's try it out. I'm going to put my finger, and I'm just going to leave my finger on top of it, and let's see if my finger floats, stays on top, or it sinks. Okay, my finger did not stay on top, and that's because of the particles that it has. But it's the bottom where it starches. I feel that my finger will be getting stuck on the bottom. So for it to fill the water, the pool with more water than cornstarch, we would sink, but now would we get out? Will we still use the same technique, the slow movements, or can we just pull it out or pull ourselves up if we fill a pool with cornstarch, more water than cornstarch? Let's see. So I'm going to pull it fast. Okay. So it did work. So from doing this experiment, we can say that the more water you add to oobleck, the watery it gets, and the liquid, it becomes a liquid. But not necessarily too liquidy. It still feels, on the bottom you can feel the cornstarch, but on top it just feels liquidy. So can we say that the more water you add, it doesn't change the fact that on the bottom it feels like a solid, but on top it feels like a liquid? And I'm going to leave you guys with a question that you guys can think about it. And if you guys do decide to do this experiment, you guys can try it out. If you guys had a place, let's say quicksand. Let's go back to using the reference of quicksand. Would you guys be able to build a house or a building on top of quicksand? Why or why not? And if there's anything that you can do to make it more stable, to make a house or building on quicksand, what would you guys do? What would you guys use to be able to build a building? And that is today's STEM activity. And like I said, if you guys do want to try it, you guys should try and add colors to it. Food coloring would be a great suggestion. And just try playing with it and see the consistency, and just try it for yourself to see how it feels when you guys squeeze it or hold it on your hands.